Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Dual Hearts. In the last episode we finished our first run through Val's dreams. Let's get the heck out of here before anything else attacks us. Who knows what else this girl's got lying around her conscious. And in case you didn't notice, we picked up a bit of a stowaway back to the real world. Check her out, she's still asleep. Yeah, I'd like to think that secretly Val has the hots for the hero, so it's probably pretty likely that he winds up in her dreams anyway, but I don't think he's ever manually forced his way in there like this. Hello again. Of course he's curious. Why wouldn't he be curious? That's right, we did pick up a key while we were in Val's dream. The first one we did ourselves, but the third in actuality, since Bumble picked up two by himself. Yeah, well, you know, we did just force our way into her subconscious and then stab our way back out again, so I'm sure there's no permanent damage. It's a little unclear why it actually needed to be a key specifically, considering you don't actually insert it into a keyhole, but I guess visual representation is fine. Open Sesame. So this is the predominant structure of the game. First we'll enter a dream world, and then we'll be taken to the temple without the use of our dream items to solve a few simple puzzles and acquire a holy instrument. And welcome to the Yellow Hall of Treasure. So, the first test to actually get into the temple was pretty easy, right? So, this yellow trial should be at least a small step up from that. Yeah, see? Stompy agrees with me. See, you know this guy's from ancient times because he speaks in Old English. Now, let's take a look at the first puzzle room. Check this out. Alright, I would love to think this puzzle is actually a test of strength and not of intellect, because otherwise I weep for society if this actually counts as, you know, a real test of intellect. In any case, there is more than one room. That wasn't just it. Now we have 2 blocks and 2 switches. You know, a little bit more heavy lifting here. Not too difficult to figure out what we're doing here. Although, you'll notice that, you know, Bumble isn't helping at all. He's just still doing his little idle dance. I almost kind of wish he had, like, pom-poms or something as he sort of, you know, eggs you on. Anyway, let's speed this up a little bit, because it's pretty obvious what we have to do from here. Whee! You'll notice if you're feeling particularly vindictive, you can sort of try to push the block on top of Bumble, but it doesn't really work. He actually teleports out of the way. That's enough of that. Up we go. Thankfully, Stompy latches onto everything like a monkey. It's easy to climb up these ledges. So now I've got 2 blocks and 4 switches. Simple enough, right? So let's see what happens. So there are only 2 blocks, so obviously we can only press 2 of these switches. So as you can see, the puzzle here is to just try them all out until you come up with the 2 that actually form the path to the edge. And as it turns out, the first block we got in the right switch on the first try. Obviously the correct answer are the 2 outside ones. I believe it might actually be possible to ride Bumble, which is the only other thing you can do that you can normally do in the dream world, and make the jump even with just the first set of platforms in place. We might be able to solve this puzzle correctly. It's actually, I actually don't trust the camera enough to try to ride Bumble at high speeds across this tiny little path. In any case, that's it. We've reached the end of the yellow trial. Now we get our 3rd holy instrument. Or in this case, our 3rd orb that will become a holy instrument when we enter the dream world. Come on, pick it up. Pick it up. Obtain. That's the context-sensitive item. The Defensor, because calling it a shield was too simple. They even used the European spelling for defense in case they weren't being esoteric enough. Check that out, we can do a little spin jump. Man, this sheep is just stalking us. Wasn't it enough that we got you out of the box and then out of the dream world? I actually wanted off. She might actually be slightly pissed off, considering that she actually wanted to, like, get inside this temple and we stole the key directly from her brain. Of course he's the Dream Mentor. Why wouldn't he be the Dream Mentor? That makes so much sense. I don't actually believe that Bumble is savvy enough to know about the fourth wall. I think he actually is just insane. But on the other hand, he might have actually asked us before he asked the player character, which is a little bit sharp of him. That sounds incredibly creepy, but I guess we have no choice. And we go. Into the sheep. This place looks awfully a lot like what you would expect a sheep's dream to look like. It's idyllic, kind of like Scottish Highlands, a little structure. It looks like a Stonehenge if it were designed by a first-year Digipen student. Anyway, we'll be coming here periodically for tutorials, and this is our first. As I said before, the first engine was the only one we can't block. Obviously now we automatically have the ability to do so. And of course, stupid sheep fires a ball before I'm even ready. Alright, come on. Come on, where is it? Any minute now. I'm pretty sure this cannon is programmed to only fire when you're not looking directly at it, but it's funnier to me. I think the sheep is just a jerk and keeps shooting at the back of my head. Anyway, onto a completely unrelated tutorial. As it turns out, Bumble can attack enemies that Stompy can't kill himself. So, specifically, mostly anytime Bumble's tummy is full, meaning he won't suck up the Ismons himself, you can knock the ones flying around to the ground, which we will do here. He's showing off the portal, but we don't really need that right now. I believe I already went over that in the previous world. So we can stab this poor little Ismon. No, pick it up, pick it up. You have to be really close to pick it up. Then you can lock on to this enemy, eventually. And if you toss Ismon towards it, then Bumble will dive at it and kill the enemy. Sometimes it takes more than one hit, at which point he will just machine gun bash into the guy. Which is pretty cool. We'll be seeing that later. Obviously that is an enemy that I can kill with the normal weapons. It's the same one that we were killing in Val's Dream. And now we've got some question blocks. Notice that the context-sensitive button for X when he's jumping is actually flap ears. He is actually trying to flap his ears for extra altitude. No, lock onto the enemy. I did that on purpose, I promise, just so I could show off the healing spell. Hit L2, and we use 2 SMons to replenish 2 joules of health. So let's try that column again. It's a bit unfortunate that when you're flapping your ears, the camera has a habit of going directly in your line of flight, meaning it's impossible to tell that you're falling down as fast as you are. In any case, oh no, don't lock onto that. Come on, I came all the way up here after you locked on the box. Now you're going to lock on that tummy up thing? Although I do kind of want that. Yeah. Stompy gets a little bow-legged when you drop from great heights, but I don't believe you actually take falling damage. Anyway, so let's climb up this mountain and see what's up here. I'll go pick up that other thing he locked on previously. It's a little sketchy trying to get up this tiny little path here. Oh, lock onto this. Come on. You're better than that. You'll notice that the ring counter includes the 22 that we picked up in Val's Dream for some reason. So you actually have to go onto the status screen to see the rings you have in each individual world, which is a little bit annoying if you're going for 100% completion. Anyway, we also picked up our first piece of tummy. Just like the health meter, you can increase the number of tummy points you have by picking up 4 of those. You'll see there's a little island there we can't quite reach yet, off to the left. We can head on these star-shaped platforms. And there's one of these question blocks, and in the distance there, the same piece of tummy that we locked on before. And this is part of the problem. Yes, 2 of those rings did fall off the platform, meaning I'm going to have to collect them up myself. If you played like Kingdom Hearts or Ratchet and Clank or something like that before, you'll remember that in those games, usually the protagonist has some kind of like magnetism that draws items to him. And Stompy does not have that at all. He's actually a bit of a butterfingers for a treasure hunter. You'd think he'd be a little better at that. This is actually a consistent problem with this game. Here's another one. So, while Stompy latches onto every ledge he can grab onto, Bumble's actually a bit of a fatty, and he kind of has to be completely over any platform he lands on, meaning if you can reach something and the game doesn't intend you to be on top of it, there's no way to sort of nudge yourself on top of it. So while we should have been able to get in that ledge on the Stonehenge structure, the game didn't want you to. And as it turns out, Bumble isn't incapable of jumping high enough. Same problem with this column, which I'm sure we can get on top of, but I'm not entirely certain how at this point in the playthrough. And you can see the distance piece of Dream Energy. We'll be picking that up in a little bit. I think we can make that jump from there, but there's some rings to pick up on the back of the level, so we'll be heading there now to do it by ourselves. the long way. Walking on this path is a little sketchy because anytime you walk on the side of the mountain, for some reason it sort of registers as if you're trying to go up a very steep hill, and so, and we'll see this as we're coming back, we sort of automatically, we just stop. I think you saw it once as we were climbing the mountain. And taking this very carefully because I know at some point the camera's just going to snap around without me asking for it. There it is. So yeah, it's really easy right here to get sort of hung up on the side of the mountain and into your sort of sliding animation. I kind of wonder if more people have played this game, that there will be some sort of physics exploit that we could use to sort of send him flying or clipping through the stage. And maybe use the access parts of the level we're not supposed to be at yet, but since, again, nobody played this game, it hasn't really been particularly well researched. Anyway, here's our fourth piece of tummy. Forms into this gigantic, you know, Esamon thing, a little unhappy face. Unhappy because I think it knows Bumble's about to eat it. There we go. And, well, let's take a quick whirlwind tour of the rest of the level to pick up a few things that we missed as we were wandering around. Let's take the other path as we were going up the mountain, this time around the back, and kind of see a bit of a ring. No, come on, don't get stuck. Move. Move, there we go. Kill this guy, pick up some rings. Yeah, nothing we can see here yet, but we'll be back. And we've reached the summit of the mountain. Nothing much here, but our first piece of jewel, basically a piece of an HP meter. I'll pick that up. Over here on the left is a flight pad. Obviously we don't have that ability yet, but you can see off in the distance on the left a platform that will eventually be flying towards us. And there's a dream energy that will also be flying to. Way off in the distant sky. Of course, Bumble can only sort of drift downward right now. I was hoping I could land on the Stonehenge from here, but I guess I'll have to cut out the part of the, obviously, shot of me climbing back up through the star-shaped platforms over to the Stonehenge thing manually. I love the noise he makes. By that I mean I hate it passionately. But well, I guess I'll put up with it. Another HP up fragment on the other side. There we go. Another piece of dream energy. As I said before, most of the early collectibles we picked up are dream energy because they're required to advance in the Temple of Dreams. I'll be showing the first gate in the next episode. Line it up. Come on, look at that ring. Get there, or just walk up the side. Anyway, back to the back of the mountain. Part of the benefit of having a horrible camera system is you can hide things all over the place right next to the player and they'll never even know they're there. Like this gold Esamon. Stuck that landing pretty well. And back to this column. As I said, I'm insistent that you can get on top of here. But as it turns out, I didn't realize until now that you can just climb it. And the only reason I knew this was because I happened to get off Bumble while I was right next to the column and Stompy just latched onto it. Pick up those rings, then we'll head to the back of the level. But there's another column I couldn't climb, and this one on top of it has another HP up. So that's 3. There's one more in this level which we can't get yet. But let's kill this guy here, and as it turns out, that leaves us 1 point away from leveling up our spears. Let's do that. Now we have level 2. And since we only have about 5 points left to do that, let's run around and grind a bit. And do the same for the sword. The point of this is that now that we have the sword and spirit level 2, we can do combos. Check this out. When you're in combat with an enemy, you can do you can hit the spear button twice, do the little switch spinny move, and the same for the sword. This only works when you're in combat. You can't do it anywhere else. So that's all we have to do here in the sheep stream. Let's get the heck out of here. I will see you tomorrow outside of this in the next episode of Let's Play Dual Hearts.